Assassin's Creed Shadows is already cooked, and it's not even officially out. I'm sure we all know by now, it's a new entry to the franchise that will take place in feudal Japan. Take note of that for later. Feudal Japan. And so it was originally supposed to be released last year in November, but got delayed into February of this year, then again to March. Why? Ubisoft claims that they learned their lesson from the failures of Star Wars Outlaws and wants to have more time to make changes to the game. What exactly? I don't think we'll ever know about that because even to this day, it seems like they are withholding a lot of information about this game. But in that same post, they changed it from an Epic Store exclusive release, at least for PC, to also being on Steam day one, and they are making the first DLC expansion free to all players. Those are good positive changes, so why does everyone, including myself, believe that this game is going to be terrible at launch? There's a lot of points to get through, so let's go a bit further back. Also, I'm sorry for seeing Marvel Rivals gameplay. It's pretty much the only footage I have on hand, other than Star Rail, but I figured this is more interesting than that. When I heard the news of Assassin's Creed game being set in Japan, I was stoked. I did a short on this when it was announced, and while I didn't think the game as a whole would be good, based on Ubisoft's track record, however, I do think that they will make the place look visually good. Watching these trailers, first run through, it seemed pretty tame. Nothing too crazy, it looked meh, I guess. It didn't really show any gameplay, that's the main thing. Especially when there is little to no gameplay footage, it's really hard for me to judge the game. But there was a YouTuber that went frame by frame of these trailers, and it was really eye-opening.
There!
階段そこだ。意味あるその階段。
It doesn't go to anything!
だってさ、ここ
What
から
is this?
荷物運んでこっち側にさ、トゥルッと落ちちゃうよ。
Are you kidding me?
しかも何これ、どこに向かって撃つんだ外
How did he get up there?
ここだろ、パルクールだよ。
And another big glaring issue is Yasuke as a black samurai in the game. Now, whether or not Yasuke was actually a samurai back in the day, I'm still unsure about that. There are some experts that claim that he is, then you have Google AI that's also confused itself, and these AIs don't just make up answers, they just cite other sources. I'm not saying you can't have a black samurai in a video game. I'm saying you can't be like Ubisoft and really push that it is a historical, accurate representation. Especially when this particular thing is controversial. And look, I haven't played the game yet, so maybe they'll talk about his background more in-game. But when your trailer plays a hip-hop beat during its fight sequence in a time period of feudal Japan, it feels like they just use him as an excuse to have diversity in the game in a forced way.
Greed cannot rule this village. Not while I have breath in my lungs and a blade in my hand. I said kill him!
These are pretty bad, and this was only a month or two away from its initial release. Then we look at the pricing graphic for this game, pretty much copy-paste from Star Wars Outlaws graphic, and it's really consumer unfriendly. $70 for the base game, $110 for the deluxe, which includes 3-day early access and day 1 DLC. 3 days early access is very, very bad for consumers. I've seen the results of these a few times, most notably for Diablo 4. Who's going to buy a game for $110, essentially on time? People who are going to enjoy the game regardless of the quality. Then those people abide by their default programming and give it a positive review. Then those who bought the game late, $70, especially for those on the fence, buy the game, realize how bad the game really is. And that and the day 1 DLC included in the deluxe package. Why is there day 1 DLC? That basically means that this was cut content from the base game and given an extra price tag. Then obviously the collector's edition. I don't really care, but I would expect a bit more from this, maybe like a physical map or figure, but nothing here too glaring to complain about. The main thing to note here is that they tried selling this figure of both Naoe and Yasuke on a torii gate. Now, I'm very bad at history, and I barely passed all my history classes. My assumption of feudal Japan was sometime in the 1700s to 1800s, which is still way off. The figure had Naoe and Yasuke on a torii gate. A torii gate that is a historical figure in the aftermath of World War II. And World War II happened in like the 1940s. How are we selling a remnant of World War II, which happened in the 1940s, in a game that takes place sometime between the 1100s to 1600s? Did they also fail history class? Because I barely passed mine, and they were off way more than I was. And so pretty much at this point, Ubisoft is like, okay, what are we gonna do? More transactions for a single player game? Let's collab with Boba Tea for a Japanese game. How about we fix all the cultural issues surrounding the game and polish the game? Nope, delay the game so that we can fix all the legal problems with the game. And so after moving the release date to February, they also decided to make it a day one available on Steam, which previously was going to be like a timed exclusive on both Epic Game Store and on the Ubisoft launcher. I forgot what it's called. This is a massive W for PC gamers since Steam is the best platform for consumers for PC. But it really makes me wonder why they would do something like that. To me, it feels like desperation in trying to get as much sales as they can in any way possible. Which is fine if that was their initial approach. And in this case, it isn't, so I can't help but wonder what really pushed them to make it day one available on Steam all of a sudden. Was it after seeing Star Wars Outlaws' initial sales? Did Ubisoft just felt bad for delaying the game and just out of the kindness of their hearts just decided to put it on Steam? I don't know, I got a free copy of the game since I bought a new PC recently and it came with it for free. Unfortunately, I have to play it through the Ubisoft launcher, but it is what it is. So yeah, and there's a Japanese censored version of the game. I think this is the true reason why the game was delayed. I don't think Ubisoft really cares about the quality of the game when it releases. They did with Skull and Bones, they did it with Star Wars Outlaws, so there's no reason for them to delay the game because the quality wasn't there. So the only reason, at least to me, that it makes sense for them to delay it is because they got into legal trouble. And with the Japanese version of the game, I'm pretty sure no one really knows what the differences are. According to The Gamer, according to multiple reports, the ability to amputate or dismember enemies has been removed entirely. And additionally, some dialogue has been reworked, though it's unclear why that needed to be the case. Look, no one likes censorship when a Japanese game is being sold in the West, so conversely should be true. Our Western game also shouldn't censor or change when being sent to Japan. Why do Japanese games need to censor their games? So they can abide to Western cultural norms and standards, which in turn makes them less authentic. Who makes those standards? I don't know, but I also probably think it would be annoying making different versions of the game for different regions of the world. And one of them is how they describe the game on Steam. On the, I guess, American version of the game, they call Yasuke a samurai. No big deal, but in the Japanese version of Steam, they don't call Yasuke a samurai. They call him a fearless warrior. Come on, you can't do my boy Yasuke like that. That's just disrespectful. Anyways, then there's a Boba Tea collaboration promoting the game, cause we all know that bubble tea came from Japan, right? Right? Alright, Google, tell me the origins of boba. Oh, it came from Taiwan? In the 1980s? Oh, okay. What flavors were they? Cherry blossoms and strawberry matcha. Well, at least they didn't make a watermelon flavor for Yasuke. That would be really bad. Oh wait, I forgot to mention about something. In a trailer before this boba thing, they were showing off the graphics of the game and whatnot, and people were quick to point out something very weird. Cherry blossoms everywhere, along with merchants selling watermelons. No. They're not even in the same season. Cherry blossoms bloom during springtime, and watermelons is a summer fruit. But you know what? This game is, in fact, historically accurate as Ubisoft claims it to be. So maybe seasons just don't exist in feudal Japan. Okay, surely there's nothing else, right? We already delayed the game twice, surely nothing else, absolutely nothing else will happen, right? People are receiving copies a month in advance to the release? No. We can't go a full month without anything going wrong for this game? I mean, okay, look, this is not really Ubisoft's fault, really. I don't know the ins and outs of these things, but I would assume it's more on like, I don't know, like a company in charge of distributing the copies, but it's still really bad and unfortunate that this happened to them. And I guess now that we're nearing the launch day, Ubisoft has announced an anti-harassment plan, which, to be fair, I think is good. I don't think people should flat out harassing devs to a point of sending death threats and doxing. I do think we should criticize the game, but it doesn't need to cross the line into devs' personal lives. Criticism should only be about the game and the company in a general sense, never the individuals. But this is Ubisoft we're talking about. They are very desperate at this point, so I could see a world where they delete any negative review, even ones that are just fairly critical about the game. And that's pretty much all the major stuff up until launch, which by when this video goes live, just a few hours before the official launch. I had to keep updating this because it's just new stuff that just keeps happening. And with the Ubisoft stocks being abysmally low, it seems that Assassin's Creed Shadows is Ubisoft's last chance. I'm going to assume that this was an expensive game to make, and so it needs to be profitable by selling millions of copies, but not just to cover the cost of this game, but to recover from the losses of their previous failures, like Star Wars Outlaws, Skull and Bones, and if it's unable to do that, I don't know what to expect, honestly, but it feels like the game was doomed from the start. But hey, I'll be playing in a few hours of this video going live. I'll be streaming it, giving my honest opinion and all that. And so, like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe for more content, as it's not just Assassin's Creed I'll be playing. Still have games like Kingdom Come Deliverance I have to get through, along with Xenoblade Chronicles X, which is coming out tomorrow. So again, make sure to subscribe, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.